People don't remember what you said. They remember how you made them feel. That's not sentiment. It's science. If you want to become everyone's favorite person, forget trying to impress. Learn to uplift. Speak to what matters to them. Take interest. Show warmth. Listen deeply. These aren't tricks. They're tools. In this video, I'll teach you how to build unstoppable likability through authentic connection. Because when you become someone who brings light into a room, the world will open its doors to you. Subscribe to our channel if you're ready to master your mind, and tell us, where are you watching from? Let me tell you something that took me years to understand. Magnetism isn't manufactured. It's cultivated. In all my years of studying human behavior, teaching thousands of business people, and working with some of the most influential figures of our time, I've discovered that true charisma comes down to one fundamental quality: personal warmth. You see, we're all carrying an invisible thermometer. When we meet someone, we're not consciously measuring their status, their achievements, or even their words. We're measuring their warmth, that gentle radiance that makes others feel safe, valued, and understood. Think about the last time you met someone who immediately put you at ease. Someone whose presence felt like stepping into a warm room on a cold day. What did they do? More. Importantly, what did they make you feel? This isn't about being the loudest voice in the room or having the most impressive credentials. It's about creating an emotional climate where others can flourish. When you master personal warmth, you become like a fireplace in winter. People naturally gather around you. But here's what most don't understand. Warmth isn't about being nice. It's about being genuine. It's about developing that rare ability to make others feel seen, heard, and valued, not through grand gestures, but through subtle signals that say, "I see you. You matter." Let me share a story that changed my perspective forever. Years ago, I met a janitor at a large corporation who had more influence than many of the executives. People would go out of their way to talk to him, share their troubles, seek his advice. He didn't have an impressive title or a corner office. What he had was genuine warmth. He remembered everyone's name. He noticed when someone was having a hard day. He celebrated others' successes as if they were his own. That janitor understood something profound. Warmth is a form of emotional generosity. It's giving others the gift of feeling good about themselves in your presence. So, how do you develop this quality? It starts with understanding that warmth isn't something you turn on like a switch. It's something you cultivate from within. It begins with your thoughts about others. When you enter a room, are you thinking about what others can do for you? Or are you thinking about what you can contribute? Are you focused on making an impression or making a connection? Here's a simple exercise I want you to try. Before your next interaction, take a moment to set an intention. Not about what you want to get, but about how you want the other person to feel when they walk away. This subtle shift in focus changes everything. Practice radiating warmth through your eyes. When you look at someone, look at them as if they are the most interesting person you've met today. Not with intensity, but with genuine interest and acceptance. Your eyes speak volumes before you say a word. Let your voice carry warmth. Lower its pitch slightly. Slow down. Speak as if you're sharing something valuable with a friend, because you are. Every interaction is an opportunity to create a moment of genuine human connection. Pay attention to your body language. Are your arms crossed? Is your posture closed? Open up. Take up space gently, not aggressively. Let your presence say, "I'm comfortable here," and you can be too. But remember this crucial point. You can't fake warmth. People can sense insincerity like they can sense a coming storm. The key is to develop genuine goodwill toward others, to truly want them to succeed, to feel good, to find their path. When you master personal warmth, you'll notice something remarkable. Doors begin to open. People remember conversations with you not because of what you said, but because of how you made them feel. They seek your company. They trust your judgment. They become allies in your journey. This is the power of personal warmth. It's not just about being liked. It's about creating an environment where genuine connections can flourish. where trust can grow, where relationships can deepen. So start today. In your next interaction, focus less on being impressive and more on being present, less on being interesting and more on being interested, less on getting ahead and more on lifting others up. Because when you become a source of warmth in others' lives, you become more than just another person they know. You become someone they remember, someone they trust, someone they want in their corner. And that, my friends, is the foundation of all lasting influence. Here's a truth that might shake you. Most people spend their entire lives trying to be interesting, when the real secret to connection is being interested. Think about that for a moment. How many conversations have you been in where everyone was just waiting for their turn to speak? Where stories were met not with curiosity but with competing anecdotes? I've spent decades teaching people the art of influence, and I can tell you this with absolute certainty. The most magnetic people I've ever met weren't the ones with the best stories. They were the ones who knew how to listen as if every word mattered. Let me share something profound. In any given room, the person asking questions has more power than the person giving answers. Why? Because questions direct attention. They shape understanding. They create the space where connections are born. But here's what most people don't understand about being interested. It's not just about nodding and making eye contact. It's about developing genuine curiosity about the human being in front of you. It's about training yourself to see every person as a book with 1,000 pages, each one filled with experiences, insights, and wisdom you don't yet have. I remember teaching a workshop where a CEO was paired with a young intern for a listening exercise. The CEO, used to commanding attention, was instructed to only ask questions for 5 minutes. No sharing his own experiences, no giving advice, just pure, genuine curiosity. What happened next was remarkable. The intern, feeling truly heard perhaps, for the first time in a professional setting, shared insights about customer behavior that the CEO had never considered. That 5-minute conversation led to changes that increased company revenue by millions. Why did this work? Because when you're truly interested, people don't just share information, they share themselves. They let you see beyond their words to their hopes, their fears, their dreams. And that's where real connection happens. Let me teach you the art of being interested. It starts with asking better questions. Instead of, "How was your day?" ask, "What was the most surprising part of your day?" Instead of, "What do you do?" ask, "What made you choose your field?" These questions invite stories, not just answers. But here's the crucial part. You must listen as if the answer could change your life, because it might. Every person you meet knows something you don't. They've lived experiences you haven't. They've solved problems you haven't encountered yet. When you approach conversations with this mindset, being interested becomes effortless. Train yourself to notice details. When someone mentions a challenge they're facing, remember it. Follow up in your next conversation. When they share a goal, show genuine curiosity about their progress. These small acts of attention are like deposits in an emotional bank account. They compound over time. Learn to use silence effectively. Most people rush to fill every pause in conversation, but silence is where reflection happens. It's where people gather their thoughts and decide whether to share something deeper. When you're comfortable with silence, you give others the gift of space to think, to feel, to trust. Develop the habit of asking follow-up questions. When someone shares something, dig deeper. What was that like for you? How did that change your perspective? What did you learn from that experience? These questions show that you're not just listening to respond, you're listening to understand. Here's a powerful technique. Practice reflecting back what you hear, not just the words, but the emotions behind them. It sounds like that was really challenging, or I can hear how excited you are about this. This kind of emotional acknowledgement creates instant connection. But remember this, you can't fake interest any more than you can fake sincerity. The key is to cultivate genuine curiosity about the human experience, to approach each conversation as an opportunity to learn, to grow, to understand. When you master this art of being interested, something magical happens. People begin to seek you out. They remember conversations with you as being particularly meaningful. They feel more connected, more understood, more valued in your presence. And here's the beautiful irony. When you stop trying to be interesting and start being genuinely interested, you become fascinating to others. Because people are drawn to those who make them feel seen, heard, and understood. So in your next conversation, challenge yourself. How many questions can you ask before sharing your own story? How deeply can you listen? How curious can you become about the person in front of you? Because when you become truly interested in others, you don't just gather information, you build bridges. You don't just have conversations, you create connections. And in a world where everyone is trying to be interesting, that makes you extraordinary. Listen carefully because I'm about to share with you one of the most powerful secrets of human connection. A person's name is the sweetest and most important sound in any language. It's not just a word, it's their identity, their story, their very essence of being. Think about it. When someone remembers your name in a crowded room, how does it make you feel? When they call you by name days or weeks after a brief meeting, what does that do to your heart? There's a magic in being remembered, in being acknowledged as an individual rather than just another face in the crowd. I've watched countless successful people use this principle to build empires of influence. But here's what fascinates me. It's not the act of remembering names that creates the impact. It's what that remembrance represents. When you remember someone's name, you're saying, "You matter, you're significant, you're worth remembering." Let me share a story that illustrates this perfectly. Years ago, I met a hotel manager in New York who had built an extraordinarily loyal clientele. His secret? He remembered not just the names of his guests, but the names of their children, their pets, their favorite rooms. "Mr. Carnegie," he told me, "when I call a guest by name after 6 months away, I'm not just greeting them, I'm welcoming them home." But here's what most people don't understand about remembering names. It's not a talent, it's a practice. And more importantly, it's a decision. You decide that names are important. You decide that people are worth remembering. You decide to pay attention when introductions are made. Let me teach you my system for never forgetting a name. First, when you hear a name, really hear it. Don't let it float past your consciousness while you're thinking about what to say next. Stop, focus, listen. Second, repeat it immediately in conversation. "John, it's wonderful to meet you. So, Sarah, what brings you here today?" This isn't just politeness, it's programming. You're encoding that name into your memory through active use. Third, create associations. If you meet Michael who works in medicine, picture him in a white coat. If Linda loves literature, imagine her surrounded by books. The more vivid and personal these associations, the stronger your memory becomes. Here's a technique that served me well. When someone introduces themselves, take a mental snapshot. Notice something distinctive about their appearance, their manner, their voice. Connect the name to that observation. James with the jazz musician smile, Patricia with the purposeful stride. These connections create anchors for your memory. But there's more to this than mere technique. The real power lies in understanding why names matter so much. Your name is more than a label. It's the first gift you were ever given. It's how you were first known to the world. When someone remembers and uses your name, they're acknowledging your individual humanity. Think about the opposite experience. How does it feel when someone repeatedly forgets your name? Or worse, doesn't even try to remember it? It sends a clear message. You're not important enough to remember. This is why forgetting names isn't just a social faux pas. It's a missed opportunity for connection. Here's a challenge for you. In your next 3 social or professional encounters, make it your mission to remember and use each person's name, at least 3 times in conversation. Not mechanically, but naturally. Watch what happens to the energy of these interactions. But remember this crucial point. Don't just remember names, Honor them, pronounce them correctly. If you're unsure, ask. Nothing shows respect like the effort to get someone's name right. And if you do forget a name, be honest. I remember meeting you and enjoying our conversation about digital art, but I've forgotten your name. Would you remind me? This kind of honesty, coupled with specific memory, often strengthens rather than weakens connections. Use names in writing, too. In emails, in messages, in notes. Dear John will always be more powerful than Dear Sir. This isn't about formality. It's about recognition, about acknowledging the individual behind the interaction. Make it a practice to remember names of service staff, of colleagues' spouses, of clients' children. This attention to detail, this investment in personal connection, sets you apart in a world where such consideration is increasingly rare. And here's something powerful. When you get good at remembering names, teach others how to do it. Share your techniques. Help them understand the importance, because when you help others become better at connecting, you multiply your own impact. Remember this, every time you use someone's name, you're not just identifying them, you're inviting them into a closer connection. You're saying, I see you as an individual. I value our interaction enough to remember who you are. In a world of increasing anonymity, the simple act of remembering and using names becomes a superpower. It's a way of saying, in this moment, you matter. And that, my friends, is how lasting connections begin. Let me share with you one of the most transformative principles I've discovered in my lifetime of studying human behavior. The power of honest and sincere appreciation. Notice I said appreciation, not flattery. The difference between these two is as vast as the difference between gold and fool's gold. You see, flattery is counterfeit appreciation. It's like paper money without backing. It might look valuable at first glance, but it carries no real worth. People can sense it instinctively, like animals can sense an approaching storm. But genuine appreciation, that's something altogether different. That's emotional gold. Here's what most people don't understand about appreciation. It's not about making grand statements or lavish praise. It's about noticing the specific, often small things that others do well, and taking the time to acknowledge them sincerely. It's about training your eye to see the good in others, and your heart to celebrate it. Let me tell you a story that illustrates this perfectly. Years ago, I met a factory supervisor who had transformed one of the lowest performing teams into the company's most efficient unit. His secret wasn't higher wages or stricter rules. It was his ability to notice and appreciate the unique contribution of each team member. He told me, Dale, I make it my business to find one thing each person does exceptionally well, and I help them see it too. When Maria streamlines a process, I don't just say good job, I detail exactly how her innovation helps the entire team. When John maintains his station with exceptional care, I point out how his attention to detail prevents delays for everyone downstream. This supervisor understood something profound. People will move mountains to live up to genuine appreciation. Not because they're seeking praise, but because someone finally saw and acknowledged their true value. But here's the crucial part. Appreciation must be specific to be meaningful. Nice work is like a blank check. It might make a nice sound, but it carries no real value. Instead, say, the way you handled that difficult client with such patience and professionalism was remarkable. I particularly noticed how you stayed calm when they were frustrated and found a creative solution to their problem. Let me teach you the 3 elements of powerful appreciation. First, it must be specific. Don't just appreciate the result, appreciate the thought, effort, and skill that went into it. Second, it must be sincere. If you don't mean it, don't say it. Your tone, your body language, your eyes will betray you if you're not genuine. Third, it must be timely. Appreciation is like fresh bread, best served warm. Here is something fascinating. When you start looking for things to genuinely appreciate in others, you begin to see the world differently. You develop what I call an appreciation mindset. You start noticing the small acts of kindness, the quiet competence, the subtle improvements that most people overlook. But remember this, appreciation isn't just about making others feel good, though it certainly does that. It's about creating an environment where people feel seen, valued, and motivated to grow. It's about building a culture of excellence through acknowledgement. Think about your own experience. When was the last time someone gave you specific, sincere appreciation for something you did? How did it make you feel? More importantly, how did it affect your behavior afterward? I bet you found yourself wanting to live up to that appreciation, didn't you? Here's a powerful exercise. For the next week, make it your mission to catch people doing things right. Look for the small victories, the quiet efforts, the incremental improvements. When you spot them, acknowledge them specifically and sincerely. Watch what happens to your relationships, your influence, your environment. But here's a warning. Don't fall into the trap of appreciating only the big achievements. Sometimes the most powerful appreciation is for the small, consistent actions that often go unnoticed. The colleague who always arrives prepared for meetings. The team member who consistently helps others without being asked. The friend who really listens when you need to talk. Learn to appreciate growth, not just achievement. When you see someone improving, struggling to master a new skill or overcome a challenge, acknowledge their progress. I've noticed how much effort you're putting into improving your presentation skills. The way you handled questions in today's meeting showed real progress. Make your appreciation specific and actionable. Instead of "you're a great writer," say, "Your ability to explain complex ideas in simple terms makes your reports incredibly valuable." The way you used analogies in your last report helped everyone understand the technical concepts clearly. And here's something vital. Never underestimate the power of written appreciation. A thoughtful note, an email that specifically acknowledges someone's contribution, a message that recognizes their effort. These can be saved, reread, treasured. They become anchors of confidence in moments of doubt. But perhaps most importantly, remember this. Appreciation is not a technique, it's a way of seeing. It's about developing the habit of noticing and acknowledging the good in others. When you master this art, you don't just change how others feel about themselves, you change how they feel about you. Because here's the truth. In a world where criticism and complaint are common currency, genuine appreciation becomes a rare and valuable gift. When you become known as someone who notices and acknowledges the best in others, you become someone others want to be around, want to work with, want to support. So, start today. Look for opportunities to give honest, sincere appreciation. Make it specific, make it genuine, make it timely. And watch as this simple practice transforms your relationships, your influence, and your world. In our hyper-connected world, true presence has become one of the rarest and most valuable currencies. Think about it. When was the last time someone gave you their complete, undivided attention, not just their eyes, but their entire being, fully engaged, completely present, totally there with you in that moment? Let me tell you something profound. In an age of infinite distractions, presence is power. When you master the art of being fully present, you become remarkable simply because you're rare. You become memorable because you make others feel seen, heard, and valued in a way that few people do. But here's what most don't understand about presence. It's not passive. It's not just about putting your phone away or maintaining eye contact. True presence is an active state of being. It's a conscious choice to bring your full self to each moment, each interaction, each conversation. I remember watching a master of presence at work, a negotiator who had closed some of the most challenging deals in his industry. His secret wasn't clever tactics or persuasive arguments. It was his ability to create what he called zones of total attention. When he was with someone, he was completely with them. No glancing at screens, no mental multitasking, no scanning the room for more important people. The greatest gift you can give another person, he told me, is the purity of your attention. And he was right. In a world where everyone is partially somewhere else, being fully present is like offering water in a desert. Let me teach you the elements of masterful presence. First, it begins before the interaction. Take a moment to clear your mind. Take 3 deep breaths. Set an intention to be fully there for the next conversation, the next meeting, the next moment. Second, position yourself for presence. Face the person you're speaking with directly. Remove physical barriers between you when possible. Keep your hands visible and open. These aren't just body language tricks. They're commitments to engagement. Third, and this is crucial, learn to listen with your entire body. Your eyes should be soft and focused. Your posture should be open and receptive. Your energy should be calm and attentive. When someone speaks, listen not just to their words, but to the emotion behind them, the meaning between them. But here's something vital. Presence isn't just about how you act. It's about how you think. Are you truly curious about what the other person is saying? Are you genuinely interested in understanding their perspective? Or is your mind already racing ahead to what you'll say next? Let me share a technique that transformed my own ability to be present. I call it the 3 levels of listening. Level 1 is listening to the words. Level 2 is listening to the emotions and unspoken messages. Level 3 is listening to the potential, what could emerge from this interaction if you're fully present to it. Practice staying at level 3. When your mind wanders, and it will, gently bring it back. When you feel the urge to interrupt, and you will, take a breath. Instead, when you're tempted to offer solutions, and you'll be tempted, ask yourself, have I truly understood everything they're trying to communicate? Here's something fascinating. When you're fully present with someone, they become more present with themselves. They think more clearly. They express themselves more authentically. They access deeper levels of understanding. Your presence creates a space where insight and connection can flourish. But remember this, presence requires practice. Start with small moments. Can you give your full attention to a 3-minute conversation? Can you listen to someone's story without planning your response? Can you sit in silence with someone without feeling the need to fill it? Make it a game. In your next meeting, notice how many times your mind drifts away. Don't judge it, just notice it. Each time you catch yourself, gently return to the present moment. It's like building a muscle. Every return makes you stronger. Here's a powerful practice. At the end of each interaction, ask yourself, was I fully there? Did I create a space where the other person felt truly heard? If the answer is no, don't judge yourself. Just commit to being more present next time. Learn to recognize the signals that you're losing presence. Is your foot tapping? Is tension creeping into your shoulders? Is your mind racing ahead to your next appointment? These are your cues to take a breath and return to the moment. And here's something crucial. Presence isn't just for others. It's for you too. When you're fully present, you make better decisions. You notice subtle opportunities. You build stronger connections. You experience life more richly. Master the art of digital presence too. When you're on a video call, be on the video call. Close other tabs. Turn off notifications. Create the same zone of total attention you would in person. In our virtual world, this kind of presence is even more powerful, but perhaps most importantly, remember this. Presence is a gift that goes both ways. When you're fully present with others, you give them permission to be fully present too. You create a space where real connection can happen, where trust can build, where relationships can deepen. Because here's the truth. In a world of constant distraction, presence is more than just a skill. It's a superpower when you become known as someone who brings their full self to every interaction, who creates spaces where others feel truly seen and heard. You become more than just another person in their life. You become a sanctuary of attention in a storm of distraction. So start today. In your next conversation, your next meeting, your next interaction, be there, fully there. Watch what happens when you bring your complete presence to the moment. Notice how it changes the quality of connection, the depth of understanding, the possibilities for meaningful engagement. Because when you master the art of presence, you don't just change how others experience you, you change how they experience themselves in your presence. And that, my friends, is true influence. Every person you meet is carrying an invisible sign. It reads, "Make me feel important." Not famous, not wealthy, not powerful, important. Understanding this fundamental human need is the key to building instant, authentic connections with anyone you meet. But here's what most people get wrong about making others feel important. They think it's about grand gestures or excessive praise. The real art lies in something far more subtle and powerful, mirroring what matters most to them. Let me share a profound truth I've learned from decades of teaching human relations. People connect most deeply with those who reflect their core values, their deepest interests, and their most cherished goals. Not through mimicry, but through genuine recognition and respect for what makes them uniquely them. I remember watching a masterful salesperson close deal after deal, not because she had the best product or the lowest price, but because she had an extraordinary ability to identify and mirror what mattered most to each client. With the environmental consultant, she focused on sustainability features. With the efficiency expert, she emphasized time-saving aspects. With the status-conscious executive, she highlighted exclusivity. "I don't sell products," she told me. "I sell alignment. I show people how what I offer connects directly to what they value most." This isn't manipulation, it's deep understanding, translated into meaningful connection. Let me teach you the art of value mirroring. First, you must become a detective of what matters to others. Listen for what lights them up. Watch for what they defend or protect. Notice what they consistently bring up in conversation. These are clues to their core values. Second, learn to recognize the different languages of importance. Some people value achievement and results. Others prioritize relationships and harmony. Some seek innovation and change. Others value tradition and stability. When you can speak their language of importance, you create instant rapport. But here's something crucial. Mirroring must be authentic. You're not pretending to share their values. You're demonstrating genuine respect and understanding for what matters to them. This requires developing what I call value empathy, the ability to appreciate the importance of something to someone else, even if it's not important to you. Let me share a technique that's transformed countless relationships. I call it the value validation loop. When someone expresses what's important to them, first acknowledge it specifically. "I can see why environmental sustainability is crucial in your industry." Then build on it. "Have you considered how this approach might also improve long-term cost efficiency?" Finally, invite them to expand. "What other benefits have you noticed from prioritizing sustainability?" This creates a conversation that orbits around what matters to them, making them feel both understood and valuable. But remember, this isn't about agreeing with everything they say. It's about showing that you understand and respect their perspective. Here's something fascinating. When you become skilled at mirroring what matters to others, you start to see the world through multiple lenses. You develop a richer understanding of human motivation. You become more adaptable, more empathetic, more influential. But there's a warning. Don't fall into the trap of surface mirroring, simply repeating someone's words or mimicking their body. Language isn't enough. True mirroring goes deeper. It's about connecting with the underlying values, hopes, and concerns that drive their behavior. Learn to listen for value cues in everyday conversation. When someone says, "I can't stand inefficiency," they're telling you that optimization matters to them. When they say, "I just want everyone to get along," they're expressing a core value of harmony. These are golden opportunities for meaningful connection. Practice what I call value spotlighting, the art of illuminating what matters to others in ways that make them feel seen and understood. I noticed how carefully you considered everyone's perspective in that meeting. It's clear that inclusive decision-making is important to you. But here's something vital. Don't forget to mirror their aspirations, not just their current concerns. When someone shares their goals or dreams, engage with genuine interest, show them you see not just who they are, but who they're striving to become. And here's a powerful truth. When you mirror what matters most to others, you don't just build connection, you build trust. People trust those who understand and respect their values. They open up to those who acknowledge their priorities. They collaborate with those who recognize their goals. Master the art of contextual mirroring, too. In professional settings, mirror their business values. In personal settings, mirror their life values. In group settings, mirror shared values. This flexibility shows emotional intelligence and builds rapport in any situation. But perhaps most importantly, remember this. Mirroring what matters to others isn't about losing yourself. It's about expanding your capacity for understanding. It's about developing the ability to see the world through multiple value systems while maintaining your own integrity. Make it a practice to regularly ask yourself, what matters most to the people in my life? Am I showing them that I understand and respect their values? Am I creating spaces where they feel their priorities are acknowledged? Because here's the ultimate truth. When you become skilled at mirroring what matters most to others, you don't just make them feel important. You create the foundation for lasting influence. You build relationships based on genuine understanding. You develop the ability to connect with anyone, anywhere, because you've mastered the art of speaking to their core values. So, start today. In your next interaction, look for clues to what really matters to the person in front of you. Mirror it back with genuine interest and respect. Watch how this simple practice transforms your ability to connect, influence, and build lasting relationships. Remember, everyone is carrying that invisible sign. When you learn to read it and reflect what truly matters to them, you become more than just another person in their life. You become someone who truly sees them. And that, my friends, is the beginning of all meaningful connection. In our modern world, we're drowning in noise but starving for understanding. Think about it. When was the last time you felt truly, deeply heard? Not just listened to, but genuinely understood. This hunger for understanding is universal, and those who can satisfy it wield extraordinary influence. Let me share something powerful. Making others feel heard is different from simply listening. It's an art that combines attention, empathy, and skill. It's about creating what I call a sanctuary of understanding, a space where people feel safe enough to share their true thoughts and feelings. But here's what most people don't understand. About making others feel heard, it's not passive. It's not about staying silent and nodding. It's an active process that requires engagement, reflection, and genuine curiosity. I once watched a mediator resolve a conflict that had paralyzed a company for months. Her secret wasn't in what she said. It was in how she listened. She created a space where each person felt so completely heard that they naturally became more open to hearing others. The solution, she told me later, was already there in their words. They just needed someone to hear it. Let me teach you the 4 levels of making others feel heard. The first level is physical listening, being present, maintaining eye contact, showing through your body language that you're fully engaged. The second level is intellectual listening, following their logic, understanding their points. The third level is emotional listening, tuning into the feelings beneath their words. The fourth and deepest level is intentional listening, understanding their hopes, fears, and underlying motivations. But here's something crucial. Making others feel heard isn't just about understanding. It's about demonstrating that understanding. This is where the technique of reflective validation comes in. When someone shares something, first reflect their content. So what I'm hearing is, then validate their emotion. I can understand why you'd feel that way because, finally, invite deeper sharing. Could you tell me more about? Learn to listen for what's not being said. People often talk around their real concerns, testing the waters to see if it's safe to dive deeper. When you sense this, create that safety through what I call permission statements. It sounds like there might be more to this, or feel free to share whatever's on your mind. Here's something fascinating. When people feel truly heard, they become more articulate, more insightful, more solution-oriented. It's as if being heard helps them hear themselves more clearly. Your attention becomes a mirror that helps them see their own thoughts and feelings more distinctly. But remember this warning. Don't fall into the trap of problem-solving too quickly. When someone shares a challenge, our natural instinct is to offer solutions. Resist this urge. Often people need to feel fully heard before they're ready for solutions. Sometimes feeling heard is the solution. Practice what I call generous listening. Listening not just for facts and problems, but for possibilities and potential. When someone shares a struggle, listen for their strengths. When they express frustration, listen for their passion. When they voice confusion, listen for their emerging clarity. Develop the art of the strategic pause. After someone finishes speaking, wait a moment before responding. This shows you're reflecting on their words, not just waiting for your turn to talk. These moments of silence often invite deeper sharing. Master the technique of story invitation. When someone gives you a short answer, gently invite the larger story. That sounds interesting. How did you come to that conclusion? Or what experiences shaped that perspective? People often have rich stories behind their simple statements, but here's something vital. Making others feel heard requires authenticity. You can't fake attention or manufacture interest. You must develop genuine curiosity about others' experiences, perspectives, and insights. This isn't just a technique, it's a way of being. Learn to handle emotional content with skill. When someone shares strong feelings, acknowledge them directly. I can hear how frustrated this situation has made you, or it's clear this means a lot to you. This validation makes it safe for them to explore these emotions further. And here's a powerful truth. When you make others feel consistently heard, you become a rare and valuable presence in their lives. In a world where most people are waiting to speak rather than listening to understand, deep listeners become trusted confidants, valued advisors, and natural leaders. Practice what I call whole person listening. Listening not just to the immediate content, but to the whole person behind the words, their hopes, their fears, their past experiences, their future aspirations. This depth of attention creates depth of connection, but perhaps most importantly, remember this. Making others feel heard isn't just a communication skill, it's a form of respect. It's saying, your thoughts matter, your feelings are valid, your perspective is valuable. This kind of respect builds trust, strengthens relationships, and creates lasting influence. Make it a practice to regularly check your listening quality. Are you fully present? Are you trying to understand rather than waiting to respond? Are you creating space for others to share deeply? Are you demonstrating your understanding in ways that make them feel truly heard? Because here's the ultimate truth. In a world where everyone is talking, the ability to make others feel genuinely heard becomes a superpower. When you master this art, you don't just improve communication, you transform relationships. You don't just gather information, you create connection. You become someone others seek out, trust, and remember. So start today. In your next conversation, focus entirely on making the other person feel heard. Watch how this simple shift changes the quality of your interaction, the depth of your understanding, and the strength of your connection. Remember, everyone is carrying thoughts, feelings, and experiences they long to share. When you become someone who can hear not just their words but their meaning, you become more than just a listener. You become a catalyst for understanding. And that, my friends, is how lasting connections are built. Let me share with you one of the most powerful secrets I've discovered in my lifetime of studying human behavior. Criticism is like trying to change the weather by blowing against the wind. It's not just ineffective, it's counterproductive. Yet, how many of us spend our days pointing fingers, finding fault, and voicing complaints? Here's what most people don't understand about criticism. It doesn't just fail to create positive change, it actively prevents it. Why? Because criticism triggers our most primitive defensive responses. The moment we feel attacked, our minds close like fortress gates, and all possibility of growth or change vanishes. I remember watching a brilliant executive destroy her team's motivation in just 3 months. Her expertise was unquestionable, her work ethic admirable, but her habit of constant criticism created what I call a culture of defense. Every meeting became a battlefield where people fought to protect themselves rather than solve problems. But here's the fascinating part. When she learned to replace criticism with curiosity, everything changed. Instead of saying, "This report is inadequate," she asked, "What challenges did you face while preparing this?" Instead of condemning mistakes, she explored their causes. The same team that had been paralyzed by criticism became energized by understanding. Let me teach you the art of influence without criticism. First, understand that behind every mistake, every failure, every disappointment, there's a story. Your job isn't to judge that story, it's to understand it. When you approach situations with curiosity rather than condemnation, you open doors that criticism would slam shut. Here's a powerful technique I call redirected response. When you feel the urge to criticize, stop and ask yourself 3 questions. What outcome do I really want? What might I not understand about this situation? How can I help make things better? This simple pause can transform a potential confrontation into a collaboration. But remember this crucial point. Avoiding criticism doesn't mean accepting mediocrity. It means finding more effective ways to inspire improvement. Instead of pointing out what's wrong, highlight what's possible. Instead of focusing on mistakes, focus on opportunities for growth. Learn to master what I call constructive reflection. When something goes wrong, rather than criticizing, say something like, "Let's look at this together and see what we can learn." This approach maintains standards while preserving relationships. Here's something fascinating. When you remove criticism from your communication toolkit, you're forced to develop more sophisticated tools. You become better at asking questions, better at understanding perspectives, better at finding solutions that work for everyone. But there's a warning. Don't fall into the trap of sugar-coated criticism. Phrases like, "with all due respect," or "don't take this the wrong way," are just criticism wearing a polite mask. People sense the judgment beneath the pleasantries, and their defenses rise just the same. Practice what I call appreciation before direction. Before addressing any shortcoming, find something genuinely praiseworthy, not as manipulation, but as recognition that few situations are entirely negative. This creates an environment where improvement feels possible rather than punitive. Master the art of the growth invitation. Instead of criticizing what is, invite people to explore what could be. "How might we make this even more effective?" is far more motivating than "this isn't good enough." But here's something vital. Avoiding criticism isn't just about choosing different words. It's about adopting a different mindset. It's about seeing people as capable of growth rather than deserving of judgment. It's about focusing on future possibility rather than past mistakes. Learn to handle your own disappointment without turning it into criticism. When things don't meet your expectations, pause. Ask yourself, what's the most constructive way to move forward? How can I turn this moment into an opportunity for growth? And here's a powerful truth. When you become known as someone who doesn't criticize, condemn, or complain, you become a safe harbor in a stormy world. People trust you with their challenges, seek your advice, value your perspective because they know you'll respond with understanding rather than judgment. Practice what I call solution-focused communication. Instead of dwelling on what went wrong, focus on what needs to happen next. This keeps the energy moving forward rather than stuck in past mistakes. But perhaps most importantly, remember this: the moment you criticize, you lose influence. The moment you condemn, you create resistance. The moment you complain, you give away your power to effect change. Make it a practice to catch yourself before criticism escapes your lips. Transform, you always make this mistake, into, let's find a way to make this process more foolproof. Turn, this is unacceptable, into, what support do you need to meet our standards? Because here's the ultimate truth. In a world quick to judge and slow to understand, the person who can inspire without criticizing, lead without condemning, and improve without complaining becomes invaluable. When you master this art, you don't just avoid creating resistance, you create engagement. You don't just prevent defensiveness, you promote growth. So, start today. In your next challenging interaction, catch yourself before criticism surfaces. Replace judgment with curiosity. Transform condemnation into collaboration. Watch how this shift changes not just the outcome, but the entire dynamic of your relationships. Remember, everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. When you choose understanding over criticism, support over condemnation, and solution-seeking over complaint, you become more than just another voice in their life. You become a catalyst for positive change, and that, my friends, is true influence. Let me share a profound truth that took me years to understand. The loudest voice rarely wins the argument, but the wisest voice often wins the mind. In all my years of studying human behavior, I've discovered that true influence doesn't come from forcing your views on others. It comes from creating a bridge of understanding that others willingly cross. Think about it. When was the last time someone changed your mind by arguing with you, by telling you how wrong you were, by overwhelming you with facts and figures? Now think about the last time someone helped you see things differently through genuine understanding and respectful dialogue. Here's what most people don't understand about winning others to their way of thinking. It's not about winning at all. It's about creating an environment where new ideas can take root and grow naturally. It's about making it safe for others to change their minds without losing face. I remember watching a masterful negotiator handle a seemingly impossible situation. Two departments were locked in bitter disagreement over resource allocation. Instead of taking sides or pushing solutions, she began by acknowledging both perspectives. I can see why marketing needs these resources to drive growth, and I understand why operations feels this could compromise efficiency. This simple acknowledgement transformed the energy in the room. Let me teach you the art of gentle persuasion. First, understand that everyone's current position makes perfect sense to them based on their information, experiences, and beliefs. Your job isn't to prove them wrong, it's to expand their perspective. Here's a powerful technique I call the perspective bridge. Start where they are, not where you want them to be. Acknowledge their current view. I understand why you see it that way. Then build a bridge to new possibilities. And I wonder if we might also consider, but remember this crucial point: timing is everything. People can't consider new ideas when they're feeling defensive, unheard, or disrespected. Create safety. First, show genuine respect for their current position before inviting them to explore alternatives. Learn to master what I call agreement amplification. Before addressing any differences, find points of genuine agreement and emphasize them. We both want what's best for the team, or we share the same goal of improving efficiency. This creates a foundation of unity that makes exploring differences less threatening. Here's something fascinating. When you make it safe for people to change their minds, they often do so faster than you expect. Why? Because most people don't actually enjoy holding on to rigid positions. They do it because they feel they must defend themselves. But there's a warning. don't fall into the trap of trying to win too quickly. People need time to process new ideas, to feel they've been heard, to maintain their dignity. Rush this process, and you'll create resistance rather than acceptance. Practice what I call curious advocacy. Instead of pushing your position, explore theirs with genuine interest. Ask questions that help both of you understand the situation better. What experiences led you to this conclusion? What concerns you most about alternative approaches? Master the art of the gentle reframe. When someone expresses a fixed position, help them see it from new angles. I wonder how this might look from the customer's perspective. Or, what if we considered this as an opportunity rather than a problem? But here's something vital. Winning. People to your way of thinking isn't about clever tactics. It's about genuine respect for others' intelligence and autonomy. People can sense when you're trying to manipulate them, and it creates instant resistance. Learn to handle disagreement with grace. When someone opposes your view, resist the urge to defend or argue. Instead, get curious. Seek to understand their reasoning. Often, in understanding their position deeply, you'll find the key to helping them understand yours. And here's a powerful truth. When you become known as someone who influences without conflict, who persuades without pressure, who leads without forcing, people naturally seek your opinion. They come to you with their challenges. They trust your guidance. Practice what I call solution partnership. Instead of presenting your way as the only way, invite others to help find the best way. How might we combine the best of both approaches? This transforms potential adversaries into collaborators. But perhaps most importantly, remember this. The goal isn't to win arguments, it's to win understanding. When you focus on helping others see new possibilities rather than proving your point, you create lasting change rather than temporary compliance. Make it a practice to ask yourself, am I trying to win or am I trying to understand? Am I pushing my perspective or am I creating space for mutual exploration? Am I making it safe for others to change their minds? Because here's the ultimate truth. In a world full of conflict and confrontation, the person who can influence without creating resistance becomes invaluable. When you master this art, you don't just change minds, you transform relationships. You don't just win arguments, you win allies. So, start today. In your next challenging conversation, focus on building bridges rather than winning battles. Create safety rather than pressure. Invite exploration rather than demand agreement. Watch how this approach transforms not just the outcome, but the entire dynamic of your interactions. Remember, everyone you meet has reasons for thinking the way they do. When you become someone who can understand those reasons and gently expand perspectives, you become more than just another voice in the conversation. You become a trusted guide toward better understanding. And that, my friends, is how lasting influence grows. Let me share with you one of the most transformative principles I've discovered in my lifetime of studying human influence. People are not interested in your interests. They're interested in their own. This isn't selfishness, it's human nature. And when you truly understand this principle, you hold the key to connecting with anyone, anywhere, anytime. Think about it. When was the last time someone tried to persuade you by talking about what mattered to them? How did that feel compared to when someone took the time to understand and speak to what mattered to you? Here's what most people don't understand about communicating effectively. It's not about changing your message, it's about changing your lens. It's about seeing your ideas through the filter of others' interests, needs, and desires. I remember watching a brilliant salesperson lose a major deal because she kept talking about her product's technical specifications when the client was clearly interested in ease of implementation. Meanwhile, her competitor, with an inferior product, won the contract by focusing entirely on how simple the transition would be. The lesson? It's not about having the best solution. It's about having the most relevant solution to what others care about. Let me teach you the art of interest-centered communication. First, You must become a detective of desires. Everyone has interests, some obvious, some hidden. Your job is to discover what truly drives the person in front of you, what keeps them up at night, what gets them excited, what problems are they trying to solve? Here's a powerful technique I call interest mapping. Before any important conversation, ask yourself, what are this person's primary interests, their secondary interests, their unstated interests? Then structure your communication to address these in order of importance to them, not to you. But remember this crucial point. Interests go deeper than positions. Someone might say they want a higher salary, but their real interest might be recognition, security, or growth opportunities. Learn to listen for the interests beneath the requests. Master what I call interest translation. This is the art of taking your ideas, products, or proposals and expressing them in terms of the other person's interests. Don't talk about features. Talk about benefits that matter to them specifically. Here's something fascinating. When you consistently talk in terms of others' interests, they not only listen more attentively, they remember what you say longer. Why? Because you're speaking to what already matters to them, connecting with neural pathways that already exist in their brain. But there's a warning. Don't fake interest in others' concerns. People can sense insincerity, and it destroys trust. Instead, develop genuine curiosity about what matters to others. Learn to find the interesting aspects of their interests. Practice what I call interest-based listening. When others speak, listen not just for facts, but for clues about what they value, what they fear, what they hope for. These are the keys to meaningful connection. Master the art of the interest pivot. When you sense a conversation moving away from what matters to the other person, gently bring it back to their concerns. I understand this matters to you because this shows you're tracking what's important to them. But here's something vital. Talking in terms of others' interests isn't manipulation, it's communication at its most effective. You're not changing your message, you're making it relevant to your audience. Learn to handle multiple interests in group situations. Different people care about different things. The skilled communicator can address various interests while maintaining a coherent message. This will improve efficiency for operations, increase revenue for sales, and enhance quality for production. And here's a powerful truth. When you become known as someone who consistently addresses others' interests, you become a trusted advisor rather than just another voice clamoring for attention. People seek you out because they know you'll speak to what matters to them. Practice what I call interest expansion. Help people see how their immediate interests connect to larger opportunities. Not only will this solve your current challenge, but it will also position you for future growth in areas you've mentioned are important to you. But perhaps most importantly, remember this. The goal isn't just to speak to others' interests. It's to create genuine alignment between their interests and yours. Look for ways to create win-win situations where addressing their concerns also advances your objectives. Make it a practice to regularly ask yourself, am I talking about what matters to me or what matters to them? Am I presenting solutions in terms of my priorities or theirs? Am I making it easy for them to see the relevance to their interests? Because here's the ultimate truth. In a world where everyone is fighting for attention, the person who consistently speaks to others' interests becomes invaluable. When you master this art, you don't just get heard, you get remembered. You don't just make points, you make connections. So, start today. In your next conversation, consciously shift your focus from what you want to say to what they need to hear. Frame your message in terms of their interests, their needs, their goals. Watch how this simple shift transforms the receptivity of your audience and the effectiveness of your communication. Remember, everyone you meet is tuned to their own frequency, YIFM. What's in it for me? When you learn to broadcast on that frequency, you don't just reach their ears, you reach their minds and hearts. And that, my friends, is how lasting influence is built. Let me share a profound truth that has transformed countless lives and relationships. people rise or fall to meet your expectations of them. When you give someone a reputation to live up to, you're not just describing who they are, you're helping to shape who they become. Think about it. When was the last time someone believed in you before you believed in yourself? When did someone see potential in you that you hadn't yet recognized? How did that change your behavior, your confidence, your trajectory? Here's what most people don't understand about human potential. It's not fixed, it's fluid, and one of the most powerful forces shaping that potential is the expectations and beliefs that others hold about us. This isn't just positive thinking, it's supported by decades of research in psychology and human behavior. I remember watching a remarkable transformation in a corporate setting. A new manager took over a supposedly problem department. Instead of focusing on their past failures, she began speaking about them as the innovation team, highlighting their creative problem-solving abilities. Within 6 months, this same team, with the same people, was outperforming every other department. Let me teach you the art of reputation giving. First, understand that everyone has hidden capabilities, untapped potential, dormant qualities, waiting to be awakened. Your job is to notice these seeds of excellence and nurture them through recognition. Here's a powerful technique I call future state recognition. Instead of just acknowledging what someone has done, acknowledge the quality that action reveals about them. The way you handled that difficult situation shows what a skilled mediator you are. This isn't flattery, it's recognition of genuine potential. But remember this crucial point: the reputation you give must be both aspirational and believable. It needs to stretch people beyond their current self-image while remaining within the kitiya realm of their perceived possible self. Master what I call character spotlighting. When you see someone display a positive quality, even briefly, name it and frame it as a core characteristic. You have a real gift for seeing the heart of complex problems, or your ability to bring people together is remarkable. Here's something fascinating. When you consistently recognize specific positive qualities in others, they begin to recognize these qualities in themselves. It's as if your belief in them becomes a mirror in which they can see their own potential more clearly. But there's a warning. Don't fall into the trap of empty praise. The reputations you give must be grounded in real observations and genuine potential. People can sense when recognition is unearned, and it diminishes rather than enhances their trust in you. Practice what I call potential prophecy. Share your vision of what you see possible for others. The way you think about problems tells me you have the makings of an exceptional leader, or your attention to detail and creativity could revolutionize how we approach this. Master the art of the reputation reminder. When someone faces a challenge, remind them of the qualities you've recognized in them. This is exactly the kind of situation where your natural diplomacy shines, or your innovative thinking is exactly what's needed here. But here's something vital. Giving others a reputation to live up to isn't about manipulation. It's about illumination. You're helping people see themselves more clearly and expansively, recognizing capabilities that are already there, but perhaps dormant or underdeveloped. Learn to handle setbacks with this principle. When someone falls short, rather than criticism, offer a reminder of their capabilities. This result doesn't reflect the thoroughness I usually see in your work. How can we get back to that standard? And here's a powerful truth. When you become known as someone who sees and nurtures the best in others, you become a catalyst for growth. People bring their dreams, their challenges, their aspirations to you because they know you'll see their potential, not just their current reality. Practice what I call reputational scaffolding. Build people up gradually with progressively more. Challenging positive reputations, from detail-oriented to quality champion to operational excellence leader. Each step builds on the last, creating a ladder of growth. But perhaps most importantly, remember this: the reputations you give others don't just shape their futures, they shape their present actions. When you tell someone they're trustworthy, they become more inclined to demonstrate trustworthiness. When you recognize someone's leadership qualities, they begin to think and act more like a leader. Make it a practice to regularly ask yourself, what potential do I see in the people around me? What qualities could I recognize that might help them grow? What reputation could I give them that would inspire their best performance? Because here's the ultimate truth. In a world that's quick to label limitations, someone who consistently recognizes and nurtures potential becomes invaluable. When you master this art, you don't just describe people, you help develop them. You don't just see what is, you help create what could be. So, start today. In your next interaction, look for an opportunity to recognize potential in someone. Give them a reputation worth living up to. Watch how this simple act of faith can become a catalyst for growth and transformation. Remember, everyone you meet has capabilities they haven't fully discovered yet. When you become someone who can see and name these dormant qualities, you become more than just an observer in their life. You become a partner in their development. And that, my friends, is how you help shape not just reputations, but destinies. Let me share with you one of the most powerful paradoxes I've discovered in human behavior. Sometimes the outer expression of an emotion can create the inner experience of it. Nowhere is this more true than with the simple act of smiling. But here's the key. I'm not talking about that fake, plastered-on grin that we've all seen and distrusted. I'm talking about learning to cultivate genuine warmth even in challenging moments. Think about it. When was the last time someone's genuine smile changed the entire tone of your day? When did a warm expression make you feel welcomed, valued, understood? That's the power we all carry in our expressions, the power to transform moments, meetings, and even memories. Here's what most people don't understand about smiling. It's not just an expression of happiness. It's a tool for creating it, both in yourself and in others. The science is fascinating. The mere act of smiling, even when you don't feel like it, triggers a cascade of neural and chemical responses that can actually lift your mood. I remember watching a master receptionist transform an angry crowd during a flight delay. The terminal was chaos, people shouting, demanding answers, frustrations boiling over. But she maintained a genuine warm smile as she helped each person. Not a dismissive smile, but one that said, "I see you, I understand your frustration, and I'm here to help." One by one, people's anger melted away. Let me teach you the art of authentic smiling. First, understand that a genuine smile isn't just about your mouth. It involves your entire face, particularly your eyes. The muscles around your eyes, the famous crow's feet, are impossible to fake. They're the signature of sincere warmth. Here's a powerful technique I call smile anchoring. Think of a moment of genuine joy or gratitude. Really let yourself feel it. Notice how a natural smile emerges. That's your authentic smile. Practice reconnecting with that feeling, especially when you need to smile in challenging situations. But remember this crucial point. The goal isn't to smile constantly or to mask genuine emotions. It's to develop the ability to find and express warmth, even in difficult moments. This isn't about suppressing feelings. It's about choosing which ones to amplify. Master what I call the transitional smile. Before entering any interaction, a meeting, a phone call, even writing an email, take a moment to find your genuine smile. Let it inform your tone, your energy, your presence. It's remarkable how this small shift can transform an entire interaction. Here's something fascinating. When you smile authentically, you don't just change your own state. You trigger mirror neurons in others that encourage them to smile back. It's like starting a positive feedback loop of warmth and connection. But there's a warning. Don't fall into the trap of using smiling as a mask. People can sense insincerity instantly, and it erodes trust faster than almost anything else. Instead, Learn to find genuine reasons to smile, even in challenging situations. Practice what I call smile mining. In any situation, look for authentic reasons to feel and express warmth. Maybe it's appreciation for someone's effort, recognition of a small victory, or simply the opportunity to help solve a problem. Master the art of the recovery smile. When tension arises, be the first to return to warmth. Not dismissively, but in a way that says, we can work through this together. This simple act can completely shift the dynamic of a difficult conversation. But here's something vital. Smiling authentically isn't about denying negative emotions. It's about choosing not to be dominated by them. It's about maintaining access to your warmth even when facing challenges. Learn to handle serious situations with appropriate warmth. A gentle, understanding smile can convey empathy without minimizing the gravity of a situation. It says, I'm here with you in this moment, and I care about helping you through it. And here's a powerful truth. When you become known as someone who maintains genuine warmth even under pressure, you become a source of stability for others. People seek you out because your presence helps them access their own best selves. Practice what I call smile leadership. Be the first to show warmth in a group situation. Your authentic smile can give others permission to let down their guards and connect more genuinely. But perhaps most importantly, remember this. Your smile is not just an expression. It's a gift you give to others and to yourself. It's a way of saying, I choose to bring warmth to this moment, regardless of circumstances. Make it a practice to regularly check your expression. What message is it sending? Is it reflecting the warmth you want to convey? Is it inviting connection or creating distance? Because here's the ultimate truth. In a world that can often feel cold and disconnected, genuine warmth becomes increasingly precious. When you master the art of authentic smiling, you don't just change your expression. You change your experience of life and others' experience of you. So, start today. Before your next interaction, take a moment to find your genuine. Smile. Let it reach your eyes. Let it inform your voice. Let it shape your presence. Watch how this simple but powerful choice transforms not just your interactions, but your entire day. Remember, everyone you meet is carrying burdens you may know nothing about. When you become someone who consistently brings genuine warmth to interactions, you become more than just another face they see. You become a light in their day. And that, my friends, is how we create ripples of positivity that can transform our world, one smile at a time. Let me share with you one of the most counterintuitive truths I've discovered about influence and leadership. Your power increases when you admit your mistakes. It seems paradoxical, doesn't it? Most people think admitting wrong creates weakness. But I've found the opposite to be true. It creates strength through authenticity. Think about it. When was the last time you witnessed someone in authority openly admit a mistake? How did it affect your trust in them, your respect for their leadership, your willingness to follow their guidance in the future? Here's what most people don't understand about admitting mistakes. It's not about diminishing your status, it's about enhancing your credibility. When you quickly and clearly acknowledge your errors, you demonstrate something far more valuable than perfection. You show integrity. I remember watching a CEO transform his company's culture with a single act. During an all-hands meeting, he openly admitted to a strategic mistake that had cost the company millions. Instead of making excuses or pointing fingers, he clearly outlined what went wrong, accepted full responsibility, and shared what he'd learned. The impact was electric. Within months, transparency and accountability became hallmarks of the company's culture. Let me teach you the art of effective admission. First, understand that speed matters. The longer you wait to admit a mistake, the more it costs you in trust, in respect, and often in actual resources. Quick admission prevents small errors from becoming major crises. Here's a powerful technique I call the clean admission. No qualifications, no justifications, no sharing of blame. Simply state, I was wrong about this. Here's what happened. Here's what I learned. and here's what I'm doing to fix it. This clarity is disarming and builds instant credibility. But remember this crucial point. Admitting wrong isn't about beating yourself up. It's about demonstrating accountability. Your goal isn't to diminish yourself, but to show that you value truth and growth more than protecting your ego. Master what I call the learning pivot. After acknowledging a mistake, shift the focus to what you've learned and how you'll apply that learning going forward. This transforms the admission from a moment of weakness into an opportunity for growth. Here's something fascinating. When leaders admit their mistakes quickly and clearly, it creates what I call a cascade of accountability throughout their organization. Others become more willing to acknowledge their own errors, leading to faster problem solving and more innovative solutions. But there's a warning. Don't fall into the trap of over-apologizing or making excuses. Both diminish the power of your admission. State what happened clearly, take responsibility completely, and move forward constructively. Practice what I call preemptive admission. When you realize you're wrong, don't wait for others to point it out. Be the first to acknowledge it. This proactive approach builds trust and demonstrates confident leadership. Master the art of the complete admission. Address not just what went wrong, but also its impact on others. I realize my delay in making this decision affected your team's timeline, and I understand the challenges this created for you. But here's something vital. Admitting wrong isn't just about words, it's about actions. Your admission should always be accompanied by a clear plan to address the consequences of your mistake and prevent similar errors in the future. Learn to handle admissions in different contexts. A private mistake might require only a personal acknowledgement, while a public error needs a public admission. Match the scope of your admission to the scope of your mistake. And here's a powerful truth. When you become known as someone who readily admits mistakes, people trust your words more completely. Your assessments carry more weight because others know you'll acknowledge if you're wrong. Practice what I call admission with dignity. You can acknowledge mistakes while maintaining your professional presence. It's not about groveling. It's about demonstrating integrity through honest acknowledgement. But perhaps most importantly, remember this. Every mistake you admit becomes an opportunity to demonstrate your character. It's not the mistake that defines you. It's how you handle it. Make it a practice to regularly assess your actions and decisions. Are there any mistakes you need to acknowledge? Any wrongs you need to right? Any lessons you need to share? Because here's the ultimate truth. In a world where many try to maintain a facade of perfection, the person who can admit mistakes quickly and clearly becomes remarkably trustworthy. When you master this art, you don't just resolve problems. You build deeper connections. You don't just clear the air. You create an atmosphere of trust and authenticity. So, start today. If you realize you've made a mistake, acknowledge it promptly and clearly. Don't wait, don't hedge, don't justify. Watch how this simple act of integrity transforms your relationships and strengthens your influence. Remember, everyone makes mistakes. What sets exceptional leaders apart isn't their perfection. It's their response to imperfection. When you become someone who can admit wrong quickly and clearly, you become more than just a leader. You become a role model for integrity. And that, my friends, is how lasting trust is built. Let me share with you one of the most delicate and powerful principles of human relations, the art of letting others save face. In all my years of studying human behavior, I've discovered that people will forgive almost any mistake, but they rarely forget a humiliation. The way you handle moments where someone's dignity is at stake can make or break relationships, careers, and opportunities. Think about it. When was the last time someone protected your dignity in a difficult moment? When did someone give you a graceful way out of an embarrassing situation? How did that shape your relationship with them going forward? Here's what most people don't understand about saving face. It's not about avoiding truth or accountability. It's about preserving dignity while addressing issues. It's about understanding that how you handle sensitive moments matters as much as what you actually do about them. I remember watching a brilliant executive handle a potentially explosive situation. A senior manager had made a significant error in front of the board. Instead of pointing out the mistake directly, the executive smoothly integrated the correct information while building on the manager's broader point. Later, in private, they discussed the error constructively. The manager's dignity remained intact. The board got the right information, and the relationship grew stronger. Let me teach you the art of preserving dignity. First, understand that everyone carries an internal image of themselves that they strive to protect. When that image is threatened, people don't just become defensive. They often become enemies for life. Here's a powerful technique I call private correction, public praise. When someone makes a mistake, address it privately with clarity and kindness. But in public, find genuine opportunities to highlight their strengths and contributions. This isn't about false praise, it's about maintaining balance and perspective. But remember this crucial point. Letting others save face isn't about avoiding difficult conversations. It's about having them in ways that preserve relationships and promote growth. The goal is to address issues while protecting dignity. Master what I call the graceful pivot. When someone makes a mistake in a group setting, find ways to shift the focus naturally to solutions rather than blame. That's an interesting perspective. Let's also consider this keeps the conversation productive while preserving everyone's dignity. Here's something fascinating. When you become skilled at helping others save face, they become more open to feedback, more willing to take risks, and more likely to support your initiatives. Why? Because they trust you to handle sensitive situations with care, but there's a warning. Don't fall into the trap of being so careful about others' feelings that you avoid necessary conversations. The art lies in addressing issues directly while preserving dignity skillfully. Practice what I call dignity preservation. Before addressing any sensitive situation, ask yourself, how can I handle this in a way that maintains everyone's self-respect? What approach would I appreciate if I were in their position? Master the art of the face-saving bridge. When someone takes an incorrect position, give them a graceful way to shift. Given what we knew then, that made sense. Now with new information, we might want to consider this allows people to change their minds without feeling foolish. But here's something vital. Saving face isn't just about handling mistakes. It's about creating an environment where people feel safe to take risks, share ideas, and admit when they need help. It's about building a culture of psychological safety. Learn to handle disagreements with dignity. Instead of proving someone wrong, focus on building toward right. I see your point about X. Building on that, what if we also considered Y? This maintains their contribution while expanding the conversation. And here's a powerful truth. When you become known as someone who handles sensitive situations with grace, you become a trusted leader and confidant. People bring you their challenges. Earlier, making problems easier to solve, practice what I call preemptive dignity protection. Before meetings or difficult conversations, plan how to handle potential sensitive moments. Having a strategy ready helps you respond gracefully rather than reactively. But perhaps most importantly, remember this: every time you help someone save face, you're not just managing a moment, you're investing in a relationship. You're demonstrating that you value both truth and dignity. Make it a practice to regularly ask yourself, how can I address this issue while preserving everyone's self-respect? What approach would build trust while solving the problem? How can I make it easier for others to acknowledge mistakes and grow from them? Because here's the ultimate truth. In a world that often seems to delight in gotcha moments and public shamings, someone who can handle sensitive situations with grace becomes invaluable. When you master this art, you don't just avoid creating enemies, you build allies. You don't just solve problems, you strengthen relationships. So, start today. In your next challenging interaction, look for ways to preserve dignity while addressing issues. Give others graceful ways to acknowledge mistakes, change positions, or accept feedback. Watch how this approach transforms your relationships and enhances your influence. Remember, everyone you meet is fighting to maintain their sense of dignity and self-worth. When you become someone who helps others save face, you become more than just a colleague or leader. You become a trusted partner in their growth and success. And that, my friends, is how lasting loyalty is built. Let me share with you one of the most transformative principles I've discovered in my lifetime of studying human potential. Encouragement is the oxygen of growth. Just as a flame grows brighter with air, human potential flourishes with encouragement. But not just any encouragement. It must be specific, sincere, and strategically offered. Think about it. When was the last time someone's encouragement helped you push past your self-doubt? When did someone's belief in you become the catalyst for your own belief in yourself? That's the power we all hold, the power to breathe life into others' dreams and capabilities. Here's what most people don't understand about encouragement. It's not just about making others feel good. It's about helping them see possibilities they haven't yet recognized in themselves. It's about being a mirror that reflects back their potential larger and clearer than they currently see it. I remember watching a remarkable teacher transform what everyone had labeled a problem student. Instead of focusing on the student's disruptions, she started encouraging his leadership qualities. The same energy you use to get attention could be used to lead this class in amazing directions. Within months, that student became a peer mentor, helping others succeed. Let me teach you the art of strategic encouragement. First, understand that encouragement isn't one size fits all. Some people need encouragement for their efforts, others for their abilities, and still others for their potential. Your job is to discover what type of encouragement resonates most deeply with each person. Here's a powerful technique I call growth spotting. Look for moments when someone pushes slightly beyond their comfort zone, even if they don't fully succeed. Encourage the attempt, the courage, the growth mindset. I noticed how you tackled that challenging situation. That kind of initiative is exactly what creates breakthrough moments. But remember this crucial point. Encouragement must be specific to be meaningful. Good job is like a blank check. It might sound nice, but it carries little value. Instead, name exactly what you observed and why it matters. The way you listened to everyone's perspective before making that decision showed real leadership wisdom. Master what I call forward-focused encouragement. Don't just praise what someone has done, encourage what they're becoming. The patience you showed in that meeting tells me you're developing into an exceptional mediator. I can see you handling even more complex situations in the future. Here's something fascinating. When you encourage specific behaviors and qualities, you're not just making someone feel good, you're actually helping to wire their brain for success. You're reinforcing neural pathways that make those positive behaviors more likely to repeat. But there's a warning. Don't fall into the trap of empty praise. Encouragement must be earned and authentic to be effective. Look for genuine reasons to encourage. They're everywhere. If you train your eye to spot them, practice what I call challenge encouragement. When someone faces a difficult task, encourage their capabilities before they need to use them. You have exactly the kind of analytical mind this project needs. I'm excited to see how you approach this challenge. Master the art of process praise. Instead of just encouraging outcomes, encourage the methods and mindsets that lead to success. Your thoroughness in researching before making recommendations is becoming one of your standout qualities. But here's something vital. Encouragement isn't just for big achievements, it's for the small steps that lead to them. Learn to spot and encourage progress, effort, resilience, and learning, not just results. Learn to handle setbacks with encouraging wisdom. When someone falls short, encourage the lessons and the courage to try. Every expert started as a beginner. Your willingness to learn from this experience shows me you have what it takes to master this. And here's a powerful truth. When you become known as someone who encourages authentically and strategically, you become a catalyst for growth. People bring their dreams, their challenges, their ambitions to you because they know you'll help them believe in their capabilities. Practice what I call encouragement anchoring. Help people connect their current efforts to their larger goals. The attention to detail you're showing in this project is exactly what will make you an outstanding architect. But perhaps most importantly, remember this: the goal of encouragement isn't to make people dependent on your approval. It's to help them develop unshakable confidence in their own capabilities. Make it a practice to regularly ask yourself, who needs encouragement today? What specific quality or effort can I acknowledge? How can I connect their current actions to their future potential? Because here's the ultimate truth. In a world full of critics and skeptics, someone who can encourage strategically and sincerely becomes invaluable. When you master this art, you don't just make people feel good, you help them become better. You don't just offer support, you catalyze growth. So start today. Look for opportunities to offer specific, sincere encouragement. Focus on effort, progress, and potential. Watch how this conscious practice transforms not just others' performance, but their entire self-concept. Remember, everyone you meet is capable of more than they currently believe. When you become someone who can see and encourage that potential, you become more than just a colleague or friend. You become a catalyst for transformation. And that, my friends, is how we help others reach their fullest potential. Let me share with you one of the most profound principles of influence I've discovered. The moment you start pushing people toward your perspective, you start pushing them away from it. But when you learn to pull, to draw people toward your ideas through genuine interest and shared purpose, everything changes. Think about it. When was the last time someone tried to push you into doing something? How did you react? Now, when was the last time someone sparked your genuine interest in an idea, making you lean in and want to learn more? That's the difference between pushing and pulling. Here's what most people don't understand about influence. Force creates resistance, but attraction creates momentum. When you push, you're working against human nature. When you pull, you're working with it. I remember watching a brilliant sales leader transform her team's approach. Instead of pushing them to meet quotas, she started pulling them toward excellence by connecting their daily activities to their personal dreams and aspirations. How can today's calls help you build the future you want? She'd ask. Sales didn't just improve, they soared. Let me teach you the art of pulling influence. First, understand that everyone has natural motivations, interests, and aspirations. Your job isn't to create motivation, it's to discover and align with what already motivates them. Here's a powerful technique I call interest bridging. Instead of telling people why they should care about your idea, get curious about what they already care about. Then, build genuine connections between their interests and your proposal. I notice you're passionate about efficiency. How do you think this new system might affect workflow? But remember this crucial point. Pulling isn't manipulation, it's facilitation. You're not trying to trick people into agreement. You're helping them discover authentic connections between their goals and yours. Master what I call curiosity. Leading. Instead of stating your case, ask questions that lead to discovery. What challenges do you see in our current process? What solutions have you been considering? This pulls people into active participation rather than passive resistance. Here's something fascinating. When you master the art of pulling, people often arrive at your conclusions on their own, and ideas we discover for ourselves are always more compelling than ideas pushed upon us. But there's a warning. Don't fall into the trap of passive leading. Pulling isn't about being indirect or unclear. It's about creating an environment where others actively engage with ideas rather than reflexively resist them. Practice what I call future pulling. Help people envision positive futures that naturally align with your proposals. Imagine 6 months from now, when this new system is smoothly running. What would that mean for your daily work? Master the art of value alignment. Instead of pushing your perspective, explore how your proposal aligns with others' values. I know team collaboration is important to you. How do you see this project affecting team dynamics? But here's something vital. Pulling requires patience. You must resist the urge to rush to conclusions or force agreement. Give people time to process, reflect, and arrive at their own understanding. Learn to handle resistance with curiosity rather than force. When someone pushes back, pull them into deeper discussion. Tell me more about your concerns. What aspects worry you most? This transforms opposition into exploration. And here's a powerful truth. When you become skilled at pulling rather than pushing, people start coming to you with ideas, challenges, and opportunities. You become a magnet for collaboration rather than a source of pressure. Practice what I call solution pulling. Instead of presenting ready-made solutions, invite others to co-create them. What if we combined your experience with this new approach? How might that look? But perhaps most importantly, remember this. The goal isn't just to get agreement, it's to create genuine alignment and engagement. When people are pulled toward an idea, they don't just comply, they commit. Make it a practice to regularly ask yourself, am I pushing or pulling? Am I creating resistance or engagement? Am I telling or discovering? Am I forcing or facilitating? Because here's the ultimate truth. In a world where everyone is trying to push their agenda, someone who masters the art of pulling becomes invaluable. When you learn this skill, you don't just get compliance. You gain commitment. You don't just win arguments. You win allies. So start today. In your next interaction, resist the urge to push. Instead, get curious, ask questions, show genuine interest, connect with what matters to others. Watch how this shift transforms resistance into engagement. Here's a practical exercise. In your next conversation about a change or idea, count how many statements you make versus how many questions you ask. Aim for more questions than statements. Make them genuine inquiries, not rhetorical devices. Master the art of silence in pulling. After asking a thoughtful question, wait. Give people space to think deeply, to connect with their own thoughts and feelings. The silence often pulls forth deeper insights than any amount of pushing could achieve. Learn to recognize pushing triggers, those moments when you feel the urge to force your perspective. Use these as signals to shift back to pulling, from telling to asking, from directing to exploring, from pushing to inviting. Remember, everyone has natural motivations and aspirations. When you become someone who can help others discover how their goals align with new possibilities, you become more than just a leader or colleague. You become a trusted guide. And that, my friends, is how lasting influence is built. Let me share with you one of the most powerful secrets of personal influence. In times of crisis or celebration, certain people are always sought out, while others are quietly avoided. The difference isn't about title, wealth, or even expertise. It's about who they've become as human beings. Think about it. Who do people in your organization naturally turn to when challenges arise? Who gets invited into the important conversations? Who becomes the unofficial counselor, the trusted advisor, the go-to person when things get tough? These aren't arbitrary choices. They're recognition of specific qualities that make someone invaluable. Here's what most people don't understand about becoming indispensable. It's not about being the smartest, the most talented, or the most accomplished. It's about developing qualities that make others feel safer, stronger, and more capable in your presence. I remember watching a junior analyst become the most influential person in her division, not through promotion, but through presence. During every crisis, she remained calm. In every conflict, she stayed objective. With every challenge, she focused on solutions rather than blame. People started saying, "Let's get Sarah's take on this before making any major decision. Let me teach you the art of becoming invaluable." First, understand that being wanted around isn't about being liked. It's about being trusted. Trust comes from consistent demonstration of key qualities: reliability, emotional stability, sincere interest in others, and the ability to maintain perspective under pressure. Here's a powerful technique I call stability anchoring. When others are reactive, be responsive. When they're emotional, be understanding but clear-headed. When they're focusing on problems, guide them toward solutions. Your consistent presence becomes an anchor others rely on. But remember this crucial point: becoming someone everyone wants around isn't about being perfect. It's about being dependable. It's about showing up consistently, not just in crisis, but in daily interactions. Master what I call perspective holding. When others are lost in the details, help them see the bigger picture. When they're overwhelmed by the big picture, help them focus on manageable steps. This ability to shift perspective appropriately makes you invaluable in any situation. Here's something fascinating. The most sought-after people often aren't the ones with the most answers. They're the ones who ask the best questions. They help. Others think more clearly, see more options, and find their own solutions. But there's a warning. Don't fall into the trap of trying to be all things to all people. Being someone everyone wants around doesn't mean abandoning your boundaries or always saying yes. In fact, clear, respectful boundaries make you more valuable, not less. Practice what I call emotional leadership. This means staying calm without being cold, showing empathy without getting entangled, and maintaining optimism without denying reality. This balanced approach to emotions makes others feel both understood and supported. Master the art of solution framing. Instead of dwelling on problems, consistently guide conversations toward possibilities. I understand the challenge. What options do we see? This forward-focused approach makes your presence both reassuring and productive. But here's something vital. Being someone everyone wants around isn't about always being agreeable. It's about being truthful in a way that helps rather than hurts. Learn to deliver hard truths with empathy and constructive intent. Learn to handle different types of crises with appropriate responses. Sometimes people need calm reassurance, sometimes clear direction, sometimes just a listening ear. The ability to read situations and respond appropriately makes you invaluable. And here's a powerful truth. When you become known as someone who makes situations better just by being there, opportunities naturally flow your way. People seek your input, value your opinion, and include you in important decisions. Practice what I call presence awareness. Pay attention to how your presence affects others. Do they become calmer or more anxious, clearer or more confused, more focused, or more scattered? Adjust your approach based on this feedback, but perhaps most importantly, remember this. The goal isn't to become someone else's idea of indispensable. It's to develop genuine qualities that add value in any situation. Make it a practice to regularly ask yourself, how do others feel in my presence? What do I bring to challenging situations? How can I be more helpful while staying true to myself? Because here's the ultimate truth. In a world full of volatility and uncertainty, someone who consistently brings clarity, calm, and constructive energy becomes priceless. When you master these qualities, you don't just become wanted, you become needed. So, start today. In your next interaction, focus on bringing your best qualities to the situation. Be the calm in someone's chaos. Be the clarity in their confusion. Be the support in their struggle. Watch how this conscious presence transforms not just the situation, but your relationship with everyone involved. Remember, everyone faces moments when they need someone steady to turn to. When you become that steady presence, reliable, clear-headed, and genuinely helpful, you become more than just another colleague or friend. You become a crucial part of others' success stories. Learn to be comfortable with silence and uncertainty. Often the most valuable thing you can offer is your steady presence while others work through their challenges. Not every moment needs words or solutions. Sometimes people just need someone strong and steady beside them. Develop what I call reliable responsiveness. This means being consistently reachable and helpful without becoming everyone's emergency service. Set clear boundaries while remaining dependably present for truly important moments. And finally, cultivate genuine warmth alongside your strength. Being someone everyone wants around isn't just about being capable, it's about being approachable. Let others feel your authentic care for their success and well-being. When you master these qualities, you become someone others don't just want. Around you become someone they need around. And that, my friends, is how you build lasting influence and create value that no title or position can match. Let me share with you what I consider the crowning principle of human relations. Every interaction is an opportunity to elevate someone's life, even if just for a moment. This isn't about grand gestures or life-changing events. It's about the conscious choice to leave people feeling better after every encounter, no matter how brief. Think about it. Who are the people you most look forward to interacting with? What makes them different? I'll bet they share one crucial quality. After spending time with them, you feel better about yourself, your capabilities, your future. Here's what most people don't understand about making others feel better. It's not about being cheerful or positive all the time. It's about creating what I call emotional value in every interaction. Sometimes that means lifting spirits, sometimes offering clarity, sometimes just providing a moment of genuine understanding. I remember watching a hospital receptionist transform what could have been routine interactions into moments of genuine human connection. With each person who approached her desk, she found ways to ease their anxiety, affirm their concerns, or simply make them feel seen and valued. "I'm not just processing paperwork," she told me. "I'm helping people feel more human during difficult times." Let me teach you the art of emotional value creation. First, understand that every interaction, no matter how brief, has an emotional aftermath. People may forget what you said or did, but they'll remember how you made them feel. Here's a powerful technique I call elevation focus. Before any interaction, ask yourself, how can I leave this person feeling more capable, valued, or understood than when we began? This simple intention changes everything about how you engage. But remember this crucial point: making others feel better isn't about false positivity or empty compliments. It's about genuine connection and authentic support. People can sense the difference between real interest and mechanical nicety. Master what I call emotional uptick moments. These are small opportunities to inject positive energy into an interaction, acknowledging someone's effort, showing genuine interest in their ideas, or expressing confidence in their capabilities. Here's something fascinating. When you consistently make others feel better after interacting with you, it creates a compound effect. People start looking forward to seeing you. They become more open, more collaborative, more willing to engage deeply. But there's a warning. Don't fall into the trap of trying to fix everything or be everyone's therapist. Sometimes making someone feel better means simply being present, listening without judgment, or acknowledging their experience without trying to change it. Practice what I call interaction intentionality. Before any meeting, call, or conversation, set a clear intention to create value for the other person, not just professional or practical value, but emotional value, something that enhances their experience of life. Master the art of emotional elevation. This means learning to lift others without diminishing yourself. It's not about being subservient. It's about being supportive in a way that maintains everyone's dignity and worth. But here's something vital. Making others feel better isn't just about being nice. It's about being impactful. Sometimes it means having difficult conversations in ways that leave people feeling respected and capable of growth. Learn to handle different emotional needs with appropriate responses. Some people need encouragement, others need understanding. Others need gentle challenge. The skill lies in discerning what will truly serve them best in that moment. And here's a powerful truth. When you become known as someone who consistently leaves others feeling better, you create what I call a positive gravity field around yourself. People naturally want to work with you, collaborate with you, be around you, practice what I call emotional resonance. This means tuning into others' emotional states and responding in ways that help them feel understood and supported. Not by matching their negative emotions, but by offering steady, constructive energy. But perhaps most importantly, remember this. The goal isn't to become someone's emotional crutch. It's to help them access their own strength, clarity, and capability. Make it a practice to regularly ask yourself, how do people feel after interacting with me? Am I contributing to their sense of capability and worth? Am I helping them access their best selves? Because here's the ultimate truth. In a world that often leaves people feeling smaller, someone who consistently helps others feel bigger becomes invaluable. When you master this art, you don't just make interactions pleasant, you make them transformative. So start today. In your next interaction, focus on creating genuine emotional value. Find ways to acknowledge, support, and elevate the person in front of you. Watch how this conscious practice transforms not just your relationships, but your entire social and professional world. Remember, every interaction is a moment of potential impact. When you become someone who consistently leaves others feeling better, you become more than just a colleague, friend, or leader. You become a source of positive energy in their lives. Master the art of the positive afterglow. This means ensuring that the end of every interaction reinforces the value created during it. End conversations with clear appreciation, specific acknowledgement, or genuine encouragement. Learn to create what I call empowerment moments. These are brief opportunities to help others recognize their own capabilities, insights, or progress, not through flattery, but through genuine recognition of their positive qualities and potential. And finally, understand that making others feel better isn't just a technique. It's a way of being in the world. It's about choosing to be someone who consistently adds value to others' lives, one interaction at a time. When you master this art, you become someone others seek out, not just for what you know or what you can do, but for who you are and how you make them feel. And that, my friends, is how you create lasting impact in the lives of others. Remember, in the end, people may forget the specific words you spoke or actions you took, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Make every interaction count. Make every moment matter. Make every person feel better for having crossed your path.